Through the windy, sun-scorched fields of the Wild West, where notorious cowboys terrorized the land, Ken Curtis defied all odds to carve his name into the annals of the entertainment industry. Undeterred by ruthless outlaws or the confining walls of the jailhouse he called home, the beloved Gunsmoke icon soared to fame. Yet a dark rumor from his past clung to him like a specter. For 30 years, Ken buried this secret beneath his success. Now, after decades of evasion, he steps forward to confirm it. How grave was this secret? Join us on this thrilling episode as we unveil Ken Curtis's shocking confession. The legend's early years. Before the legendary Ken Curtis became an actor and singer, best known for playing Festus Haggen on the TV show Gunsmoke, his life was full of twists and turns like a suspenseful movie. Born Curtis Wayne Gates on July 2, 1916, Lamar, Colorado, he was the youngest of 3 boys, and for the first 10 years of his life, he and his family lived on a ranch by Muddy Creek. Life was stable for the young Ken until 1926. When everything changed, the family had to move from their homely ranch to Los Animas because his father, Dan Sullivan Gates, was running for sheriff, which he eventually won, and served as Bent County Sheriff until 1931. With the promotion came a price. Nothing about the environment was as appealing as their former place, and this was indeed a shock for Ken Curtis and his family. Their new home was just above the local jail. Ken's mother, Nellie, took on a special role. She not only cared for her own sons, but also fed the inmates and was kind to them. This meant Ken had a front row seat to all the interesting and sometimes shady characters that came through the jail. One of these characters was the notorious Cedar Jack, who was popular for his wild drunken adventures that often landed him back in the same jail. Living above the jail, Ken saw it all, each new arrival and departure, every story and secret. Even with the unfamiliar space, the family still tried to make everything as similar as it was before the move. Ken's mother encouraged little hobbies like music. In fact, she played the pump organ. Ken's older brother Chester strummed the banjo, his other brother Carl sang, and his father played the violin. Their home was always alive with music, shaping Ken's love for it. Ken Curtis wasn't like other kids. With all the unusual things happening around him, he grew up different. He was the quarterback of his high school football team and played the clarinet in the school band. In 1935, he graduated with excellent grades and got accepted into Colorado Springs College to study medicine. But Ken had a secret love: singing. In college, Ken started singing in musicals. The thrill of performing was too strong to ignore. He left his medical studies behind and followed his heart, setting him on a path to stardom. After graduation, Ken's singing career took off. In the late 1930s and early 1940s, he became a sought-after staff singer on the NBC radio network, enchanting audiences with his non-country and non-Western songs. By 1940, he was officially working as a singer radio in Yonkers, New York, according to the census. Around that time, something incredible happened. Joe Stafford, a famous vocalist, gave Ken's demo tape to bandleader Tommy Dorsey, and as expected, he was impressed. Ken's voice was smooth as honey, and soon he was charming audiences and bandleaders alike. He earned prestigious spots in Shep Field's and Tommy Dorsey's bands. In 1941, Ken's big break came when he replaced Frank Sinatra as the lead vocalist for Tommy Dorsey. This exposed him to a wider audience and solidified his reputation as a talented singer. His star was rising fast, but then World War II interrupted his journey. Ken joined the U.S. Army Infantry and served from 1942 to 1945, putting his music career on hold to serve his country, breaking into the industry. The war changed many things worldwide. When it ended, many people and places were just shadows of what they once were. But for Ken Curtis, things were different. His musical journey picked up right where it left off, as if he never took a break. He returned to Los Angeles and was invited to appear on Joe Stafford's radio program, WWWVA Jamboree, becoming a beloved voice to many. On a fateful day, after singing a popular song called Tumbling Tumbleweeds, Columbia signed Ken as a singing cowboy in 1945. From there on, Ken was cast in many low-budget musical westerns, often co-starring with well-known musical groups like the Hoosier Hotshots. His music career soared when he became the lead singer for the famous Sons of the Pioneers from 1949 to 1953, and again from 1955 to 1957. During this time, he helped create iconic hits like Roomful of Roses and Riders in the Sky. While showcasing his vocal talents, Ken Curtis also learned a lot about the rich history of Western music, broadening his musical knowledge. But Ken wasn't just a singer. He had a flair for acting too. His time in Hollywood opened new doors for him. Ken finally landed the lead role in the Zorro-inspired series Dawn Daredevil Rides Again in the early 1950s and appeared in all 3 films produced by C.V. Whitney Pictures, a company owned by Cornelius Vanderbilt Whitney. That same period, he ventured into creating 2 low-budget monster movies, The Killer Shrews and The Giant Gila Monster, that were both released in 1959. Ken humorously referred to The Killer Shrews as one of the most low-budget movies ever made. The film became famous for its ridiculous special effects, especially the shrews, which were actually dogs with fur added to give them an absurdly realistic look. Despite the poor reviews, Ken, who was never one to back down, stuck to his craft. Fans might not know, but Ken also guest-starred 5 times on the Western TV series Have Gun, Will Travel with Richard Boone. In 1959, he appeared as cowhand Phil Jakes on the Gunsmoke episode Jayhawkers. Then, on November 5, 1960, he played circus performer Tim Durant in an episode of Perry Mason called The Case of the Clumsy Clown. Even after multiple appearances in several movies and tracks, Ken remained in the background as an average Hollywood star until 1962, when the tides changed in his favor. The big break, Ken's journey, took another unexpected turn on December 8, 1962, when he first appeared as Festus Haggen on Gunsmoke. Viewers were hooked, and it was so evident that the producer had to bring Ken back to the show, officially joining the cast as Festus on January 18, 1964. Festus Haggen was scruffy, cantankerous, and illiterate. While Marshal Matt Dillon had 5 deputies over 2 decades, Festus held the role the longest, appearing in 304 episodes over 11 years. The character was based on Cedar Jack, whom Ken was very familiar with from his childhood in Los Animas. Cedar Jack lived 15 miles south of town and made a living cutting cedar fence posts. Cedar Jack's character had found an everlasting spot in Ken's memory after many encounters from years ago. Recalling memories from the past, Ken was able to shape Festus's character, including his distinctive nasally, twangy rural accent, which was not Ken's real voice. Gunsmoke was a TV legend, the longest-running primetime live-action series for 20 seasons. By 2017, it held the record for the most scripted episodes for any U.S. primetime live-action TV series, until The Simpsons surpassed it on April 29, 2018. The arrival of Festus Haggen, brought to life by Ken Curtis, changed everything. Ken's outstanding performance gave Festus a sense of wit, comedy, and authenticity that helped make him a TV icon. As revealed by other cast crew members, even when the cameras were not rolling, Ken remained in character. When he was asked about this, he said that he believed having the mangiest beard west of the Mississippi added to Festus's charm. Ken carried blunt scissors to trim his beard when it got too long and insisted on wearing Festus's outfit, a faded blue shirt, old jeans, and a torn cowboy hat to talk shows and fancy events, all to promote the show. His dedication to capturing Festus's tough yet lovable nature showed in every episode. The Gunsmoke cast and crew adored Ken Curtis not just for his talent, but for his warm, down-to-earth personality, how he connected effortlessly with fans, treating them like old friends, and never letting his success go to his head. It's no wonder he remains one of the most beloved stars in TV history. Whenever Gunsmoke wasn't filming, the legend roamed the country, performing at Western-themed stage shows at fairs, rodeos, and other places. Even after the show was canceled, he kept performing. The fall of Gunsmoke. In 1975, CBS suddenly canceled Gunsmoke, shocking both the fans, cast, and crew, But in 1987, the network brought the world back to Dodge City with a TV movie called Return to Dodge. James Arness, who played U.S. Marshal Matt Dillon, and Amanda Blake, who played Miss Kitty Russell, returned. The people in charge of Gunsmoke Return to Dodge wanted more familiar faces. They hoped Ken Curtis would return, but behind the scenes, a fierce battle was brewing. At first, it seemed like it was all about the money. According to David R. Greenland's book, The Gunsmoke Chronicles, A New History of Television's Greatest Western, there was more to the story. Ken wanted twice what Amanda was getting, according to producer John Mantley. But money wasn't the only problem. Ken liked Jim Byrne's original script, but the production wanted to change it. Ken hated the changes and refused to come back if they were made. The disagreement was so intense that he told Mantley never to call him again. The industry has a saying, the show must go on. CBS wasted no time filling the void, and Buck Taylor's character, Newly O'Brien, stepped up, fitting right in with the gang. The cast made their usual rounds of personal appearances, keeping the hype alive. Greenland could sense the storm brewing behind the scenes of Gunsmoke. Curtis wasn't the only one grumbling about the script. Arness felt his character, Matt Dillon, was being overshadowed by Earl Holliman's Jake Flagg. The air was thick with tension, making the return of Gunsmoke a dramatic and fraught endeavor. Curtis chose not to come back for Gunsmoke Return to Dodge, finding new roles beyond Festus. He played a retired police detective on NBC's In the Heat of the Night, and lent his voice to Disney's Mime Teen 73 animated film Robin Hood. CBS pressed on, churning out 4 more made-for-TV Gunsmoke movies until the ratings dipped. Arness donned Matt Dillon's badge for all of them, but Blake only returned for Return to Dodge. The rest carried subtitles like The Last Apache, To the Last Man, One Man's Justice, and The Long Ride. Ken Curtis did his best to keep his private life away from the cameras, but the spotlight found its way into his personal affairs. Among the tales that surfaced was the story of his marriages, which read like chapters of a suspense-filled drama. Ken's first marriage was to Lorraine Page in 1943. They met at Universal Studios, where they were both under contract. Their union, however, was short-lived and ended in divorce. The separation was a prelude to more intriguing developments in Ken's life. Years after this split, Ken found himself intertwined with Hollywood royalty. He joined the Sons of the Pioneers singing group, where he captured the heart of Barbara Ford, the daughter of the renowned film director John Ford. They married in 1952, but their love story also ended in divorce in 1964, casting a shadow over Ken's personal life. The actor decided to focus on his career after the divorce, but as fate would have it, in 1966 Ken married Tori Ahern Connolly, a woman whose background remains a bit of a mystery. Despite the lack of public details, Tori was a steadfast partner who stood by Ken in his later years. Their marriage was a stark contrast to his previous ones, marked by stability and deep affection. Tori was more than just Ken's wife. She was a beloved figure in the professional rodeo cowboys community for 2 decades. Known for her warmth and generosity, she quickly turned strangers into lifelong friends. Her death on November 2, 1997, marked the end of an era for many who knew her. Tori was laid to rest at Academy Cemetery in Clovis, Fresno County, California, leaving behind a legacy of love and friendship. As whispers of his marriages buzzed through Hollywood, a tantalizing rumor emerged among Ken Curtis's fans. Did he have a twin brother hidden away from the world? The mystery of this elusive twin, never seen in public, ignited endless speculation. Some believed Curtis's twin lived a secluded life, while others thought the twin was a publicity stunt to boost Curtis's fame and promote his show. Another, darker theory suggested the twin existed but died young, kept secret by the family. Yet no statements or proof from Ken during his lifetime or from his relatives have ever surfaced. The truth remained elusive, inviting curiosity and speculation. Some fans claimed to have seen the mysterious twin in public, while others believed Ken went to great lengths to hide his existence. One sympathetic theory suggested the twin had a disability or health issue, and Ken, out of love and a desire to protect his brother's privacy, kept him away from the public eye. Another theory proposed that Ken's supposed elder brother, Chester, was his twin, but deliberately chose a private life, far from Hollywood's glare. This idea, supported by the lack of public records or photos, painted a picture of a man content with living quietly. Despite these compelling tales, no concrete evidence has ever proven the twins' existence. The mystery remains unsolved as fans continue to speculate about this shadowy figure and his connection to the beloved actor. Ken Curtis's health problems caught up with him, casting a shadow over his rock-solid marriage to Tori Connolly. Their union, which lasted until his farewell in 1991, was more than just a regular marriage. Through Tori, Ken became a step-parent and formed bonds deeper than mere blood relations. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Their relationship was full of drama, twists and turns, compounded by the stress of Ken's demanding career. According to Tori, the stress of his job eventually became too much for him to handle. To cope, he turned to tobacco, thinking it was no big deal. But he soon realized he was completely wrong. This little habit wreaked havoc on his health, especially his heart. Within the first 5 years of their marriage, Ken had a major health wake-up call, a moment that marked the beginning of a downward spiral he couldn't easily escape. Fast forward to the late 1960s, and Tori discovered the ugly truth. Ken had cancer, and it was serious. This news hit her harder than anything else in her life. Not only was she about to lose the man she wanted to spend the rest of her life with, but their dreams of starting a family were also shattered. As Ken battled his illness, the pain became impossible to hide. He and Tori decided to face their fate head-on. Despite the tough times, they did something extraordinary. They adopted 2 children, a testament to their determination not to let the illness defeat them. However, as Ken dealt with his health issues, he found some solace in cigarettes. Atherosclerosis, a stubborn condition, weighed heavily on his heart, forcing him to rethink his health choices. Tori, who had always stood by Ken Curtis through thick and thin, suddenly found herself in the challenging role of caregiver. She watched him struggle with fatigue and tried to keep up with the mounting bills. It was definitely not easy, and as the years went by, Tori began to lose a part of herself too. In his final months, Ken finally opened up about the dark clouds of depression hanging over him. Desperate to keep his smoking habit under wraps, he started avoiding crowded places to dodge any judgment. But as the truth started coming out, it became clear the actor was going through a lot, both physically and mentally. Tori did her best to be there for him in every way possible. The family found a comforting home in Clovis, a place that welcomed him with open arms and where his legacy lives on. Shocking news sent shockwaves through the mainstream media and captivated the hearts of fans and admirers. Ken Curtis's sudden passing on April 28, 1991, at the age of 74 due to a heart attack in his sleep at his Fresno, California home, left many in disbelief. Tributes and condolences poured in from all corners, fans, colleagues, and the media alike. He was cremated, and his ashes were scattered over the Colorado flatlands. He was also immortalized on 430 Pulaski Avenue, with a statue standing proud in front of the Educational Employees Credit Union. Ken Curtis's legacy has lived on through the movies he produced, and in general, they have not done too bad according to movie lovers and critics. The Killer Shrews was filmed just outside of Dallas, Texas, a fitting location for this intriguing, low-budget creature feature. The film's special effects were crafted by Ray Kellogg, who was making his directorial debut but was no stranger to Hollywood magic, having led 20th Century Fox's special effects department throughout the 1950s. For close-ups of the terrifying shrews, hand puppets were used, adding an eerie charm. For the wider shots, coonhounds were dressed up in shrew costumes, creating a memorable and somewhat humorous effect. Despite its modest budget, The Killer Shrews became one of the more successful regional films, gaining national and even international distribution. This set it apart from many other films of its kind. The movie's legacy continued long after its original release. In 1999, Diamond Entertainment Corporation released it on DVD as a double feature with The Giant Gila Monster. 2 years later, Madison Entertainment paired it with I Bury the Living for another double-feature DVD release. In 2007, Legend Films released a colorized version, once again paired with the giant Gila monster. The satirical TV show Mystery Science Theater 300 featured the movie in its 4th season, and their version was later released on DVD by Rhino Home Video. Most recently, in September 2023, The Killer Shrews found its way to Blu-ray, courtesy of the Film Masters label, as part of a double feature with its original theatrical co-feature, The Giant Gila Monster. This enduring film continues to captivate audiences with its unique charm and inventive special effects. The Killer Shrews holds a 50% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 10 reviews, with an average rating of 4.6 out of 10. Leonard Maltin gave the movie 2.1 out of 4, calling it an inventive but silly sci-fi tale, proving that sometimes charm and creativity can leave a lasting legacy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.